You know, this game touches on some pretty heavy stuff for how terrible the story is. There's a lot of these concerns are present in modern America. You know, the growing concern over the manipulative government, the growing concern over the heavily armed police force, the growing concern about the rapidly increasing wealth gap. This game touches on all of those things, but it's just such superficial and bland commentary. You know, I think there is plenty of room for video games to comment on things like that, especially now. You know, when the indie scene is bigger than ever. But this game's political commentary is like the summer blockbuster equivalent of political commentary. The only thing standing between this game's story and a blockbuster release is about $20 million. I'm sure you could adapt this script directly, this premise directly, and make a blockbuster movie out of it. Nobody would bat an eye. Because it's exactly the kind of stuff this happens to. This is just so bland. And it just so happens to be about some things that people in America are very concerned about at the moment. You know, I'm not actually sure that these topics were of as much concern when this game was initially released. They just are now. So looking at it, and the commentary it's trying to make is just incredibly humorous in the context of this year, 2018. It doesn't try to paint things in fair sides either. I know that can be difficult with politics. Outside of fiction, people have difficulty with that, so being able to make fiction where you don't let your biases show, that's probably even more difficult because you're creating the world. But yeah, this game doesn't even try to portray both sides equally or anything like that. The guys we were playing as, the elites, very clearly meant to be the bad guys. You're either the freedom or you're the bad guys. That's how this works. And, you know, that's fine. You don't have to try to paint both sides equally. I think it's more admirable if you do try to give your opponent's arguments some genuine weight when you're arguing against them. But if you want to create a piece of fiction where the bad guy is a straw man, that's fine. I might think it's hilarious, but I can't stop you. I'm just not sure why you would want to play as the straw man, exactly. I mean, I'm doing it right now because I'm an asshole, you know, I'm just being contrarian. I'm playing as the bad guys on purpose because they're obviously the bad guys, but why would you make the elite playable in this game? For what purpose, exactly? I'm a little curious about that. Is it just because the game was multiplayer focused and you had to have a second team? I mean, I guess you play Star Wars Battlefront, you know, you can play as the Empire, but even then, in Star Wars Battlefront, the characters give quips that tell you there's more to the situation than it seems. Like, I recall in Star Wars Battlefront 2, not the new one, the old one, when you're playing as some characters in the Empire, they genuinely think they're doing the right thing. Like, they think the rebels are the bad guys and that they're the good guys bringing order to the universe. That's not how it is in Elite vs. Freedom. In Elite vs. Freedom, you're just assholes. You're just assholes, and all the Elite know they're assholes, and they're not even pretending to do this for the good of everyone. When you're playing as the Elite, your squad mates even say things like, "That was fun," or "That was easy," or "Let's kill more of them, let's blow up some more dudes." Like, I mean, if you're gonna have a team-based third-person shooter, don't you think you should make both sides appealing to play as? This side's only appealing to me because it's so stupid. And don't tell me in Star Wars Battlefront you can also play as the Separatists, because the Separatists are even more morally gray than the Empire. You know, they're called the Separatists. They're a political movement. They're not just evil. I mean, the things they do may just be evil, but that's not the idea behind their organization, and everyone working for them isn't just evil. Hey, you guys seem to have some jelly on you. I seem to have some jelly on me, actually. A lot of jelly. Hey, so, this game isn't so good. That water cooler made me a little thirsty. Again, I do want to point out that the environmental design is gorgeous. The graphics are turned all the way down, but the environmental design itself is great. And I want to, like, walk around in this place in real life. I want to walk around in all of these locations in real life, just without the shooting. Without the shoot. Maybe that's why I enjoy playing this game. It's not because of the shooting, it's because I really like looking at the environments, and the shooting is just kind of something you have to do. to get to where you're walking. I mean, I just want to enjoy some nice scenery, and there are a lot of people in my way I gotta kill to do that. It's not really my fault that they won't get out of the way without a fight. So you may notice that the Freedom has an absurd amount of robots, considering we're the elite and we should have all the robots. It's actually just whichever team isn't the one you're playing as, that team has the robots. That's how it works in the campaign. Because the robots are an enemy type, and they didn't want to make it so that you couldn't fight certain enemy types in the campaign, you know? So for some reason, the Freedom has robots if you're playing as the elites in the campaign. And the elites have the robots, predictably, if you're playing as Freedom. Look at these guys lining up to get murdered. Look at them slowly walking toward the electrical beam. Look at that. Oh my god. I want to be clear that I am thoroughly enjoying myself right now. You know, this game is an absolute mess. But it's a very playable mess. You know, I'm having a blast right now. Not even joking. A lot of third-person shooters, you have to work to get to the good stuff. This game's just all good stuff all the time. It's just always this bad. We've already seen all of the enemy types, by the way. We've already seen every single enemy type. Normally I would discuss the enemy types, you know, tell you about them, but I feel like that would be an insult to your intelligence. Oh hey. You didn't build that business, the state did. Oh, sorry, there are enemies coming this way. I should focus. Come on. Walk into the electrical beam, like a good boy. Trying to look at posters here. Is this Let's Play just a big shitpost? I mean, this game is just a big shitpost, isn't it? This whole game is just one enormous shitpost. And I was foolish enough to buy it because I genuinely enjoy third-person shooters, you know? I thought this game would actually be good. You know? I thought there would be good things about it. And, I mean, it's not all bad, but you have to really stretch to find the good in the game design. You have to really stretch. Now, before you call bullshit on me, before you're like, now, listen, you can't claim ignorance as an excuse. Look at those mostly negative reviews. Alright, listen to me here. Listen to me here, okay? There were a lot of third-person shooters in the 7th generation that were really, really good. But the critical and consumer reception was really shitty. Never Dead comes to mind. I fucking loved Never Dead. People, I'm trying to look at posters and talk to people over here. It's really rude to be shooting me. Anyway, as I was saying, there were a lot of really good third-person shooters in 7th Gen that everybody hated. Like Never Dead and Operation Raccoon City. Fucking loved a lot of third-person shooters in the 7th generation. That got a lot of flack for no reason, really. You know, there's Inversion also. Inversion's pretty rad. So I seriously, unironically loved a lot of games that people hated, and I couldn't understand why they hated them. Maybe they were just, they just disliked trying new things that deviated from the standard too much. Nice pie chart joke. Very clever. You know, that's what I like to tell myself. That's why people don't like these rad third-person shooters, is because they're just afraid to try new things, but it's generally just that I'm weird. That's generally why I like these games. So, you know, I unironically thought Elite vs. Freedom could be good. Third-person shooters with negative critical reception have a really good track record with me for actually being really rad and awesome. This just isn't one of them. This would be the second one after Deep Black that I couldn't really find any way to defend this. Unlike Deep Black, though, this one isn't painful. So this one's actually fun to play, even though it's a god-awful mess, an abject failure of game design. This one's actually fun to play, even though it's really shitty. And I think it's humorous. Damnation on the PS3 and Xbox 360, I actually think that's a nice game. I actually like that game. It was fun to play. It had beautiful environments. It had an engaging story. A really interesting setting that I don't think has been done before. And it had some unique game mechanics all to its own. Great visual design for the primary characters. It was good. I liked it. You know, a lot of games people think are bad, I think are really good. Like, you know, Could you please stop having different tastes from me? Just in general, could you not have different tastes from me so that way I can talk unironically about how good Damnation and Never Dead is without people looking at me funny? I mean, Operation Raccoon City, can you at least give that one some credit? That one's not even... There's nothing even wrong with that one. That one works fine. Like, you know, Damnation, Never Dead, those are weird. They have some weird mechanics and weird ideas that don't always click with people. But Operation Raccoon City, that game just works fine. There's nothing weird or broken or strange about it, you know? What's wrong with that one? Is it because it's from the Resident Evil series? You can't tell me you didn't know it wasn't. You can't tell me you didn't know it was going to be a third-person shooter. Because it was announced as a third-person shooter, and it was made by a development team that only made tactical third-person shooters. What's wrong with Operation Raccoon City? I love Operation Raccoon City. Please stop having different opinions from me. It's very distracting in my day-to-day life. Is this one of those avant-garde Let's Plays yet? Have I reached the quota of esoteric and self-referential humor yet? Do I need to put some weird video filters over this video and start talking in gibberish, maybe talk in reverse? And then can my Let's Play be art? Because I think this is pretty art, if we're being honest right now. I don't think there's anything about this Let's Play that isn't high art. It's just beauty. It's poetry in motion. Or is this just something people always expected to happen? Ah, there he goes again, playing a bad third-person shooter. You know, you can just consider this a sequel to my Deep Black Let's Play. You know, it's a sequel focused around character development. If you go back and watch my Deep Black Let's Play, I'm mostly serious, except for when I almost break down crying because Deep Black is terrible and hurts to play. This is the more light-hearted sequel, the more self-referential, comedy-focused sequel. Is this comedy? Is what you're watching comedy right now? Most of it's just like stream of consciousness, just me stating my own opinions very loudly over a really terrible video game. But yeah, this is one of those sequels that takes place after a massive time gap. You go back and watch me play Deep Black, and I'm all serious, trying to take the game design really seriously, and even though the game is clearly terrible, I try my best to give it the benefit of the doubt. And then you come and watch this, and this game and my commentary is just a big clusterfuck. And then you go, oh man, so this is what Deep Black did to that guy. Because, you know, the Let's Play ended after Deep Black was finished, so you never got to see what happened to me, what happened to my psyche. But now you're watching Elite vs. Freedom, and you're like, wow, this is what happened to that guy. He just went fucking insane. Honestly, this feels so far removed from my normal informative focused Let's Plays that I feel like I'm in a different dimension right now. Like, is this video even real? Am I even real recording this right now? Because it doesn't feel very real. This feels very surreal right now, and I think I may be dissociating right now while recording commentary. You know, someday I'll actually start playing those really good underrated third-person shooters instead of just talking about them. You know, I already played Miami Vice on the PSP. That was really good. I loved Miami Vice on the PSP. I was really proud of that Let's Play. It's one of my best. You know, one of these days I'll play Never Dead, and I'll play Operation Raccoon City, and Damnation, and maybe even Mindjack, you know? And I'll have things to say about the game design, and it'll feel good. It'll feel good to be informative about an underrated third-person shooter, instead of whatever this is. What is this? What am I doing? Sometimes I worry I've just played one horrible game too many, and that my reputation for being informative-focused, that's just soiled forever. But then I remember that I've played over 70 games, and most of them are an informative styled gameplay commentary, Let's Play, blob. So, you know, when most of my Let's Plays, most of my 70-something Let's Plays are informative, I think I'm allowed to have an Elite vs. Freedom every once in a while. I think everybody should be allowed to have an Elite vs. Freedom. Everybody should just be allowed to let it loose and play Elite versus Freedom every once in a while, or their equivalent of Elite versus Freedom, you know? Play Duck Dynasty on the Xbox 360 or PS4. Play Pac-Man The New Adventures, Pac-Man 2 on the Sega Genesis, you know, just let it all hang out. Play something that feels good, that lets you turn your brain off and just fart shit at the audience from your brain. I mean, I'm not gonna lie right now and say this isn't therapeutic. You know, it's very cathartic. Rock life. So is that like a command? Are you telling someone to rock their life? Or is that just, you know, you live the rock life, you're all about rocks? Which is it? Because if you're telling someone to rock life, I can get behind that. Like, you know, if that's a motivational poster, that's a pretty damn good motivational poster. But if it's just someone saying they really like rock music or really like collecting pebbles, that's a little less impressive, personally. You know what, actually, I think I'm gonna hold on to this Let's Play for a while. I'm not gonna publish this Let's Play until I publish a Let's Play of a third-person shooter I really like. Or maybe a couple. But it's gonna be out there. This Let's Play is coming to you, and it's coming fast and hard, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. This Let's Play is a juggernaut, just like Elite vs. Freedom, and the human soul. We will triumph.
We have just received an emergency call out of Monaco. Members of the Freedom have attempted to infiltrate the hotel and convention center. The Elite plan to hold a conference here tomorrow on how to deal with any new threats caused by the Freedom, called the Cost of Freedom. Most of the conference attendees are already at the venue, enjoying the day off or preparing for presentations and meetings on their laptops. The terrorists have been spotted by our guards and are now going loud. The Freedom are going to make an aggressive attempt to retrieve the laptops and recover any sensitive intel stored on them. We need to prevent the Freedom from collecting the laptops.